Heading into the 2020-21 season here at Inside Carolina, we're breaking down all the scholarship players for the Tar Heels. I'm your host, Ross Martin, joined by Sherrell McMillan and Greg Barnes. All right, Walker Kessler, a unique player for UNC. You know, people think Tyler Zeller, but I think he has a completely different skill set. A 7'1", 245-pound freshman from Georgia. Trell, what type of player is Kessler, and how do you see him working into UNC? Because it's a player like we haven't seen in a long time.
I think that's the biggest point is that there really isn't a precedent for him at North Carolina with his measurables. Now, on the recruiting trail, they kind of used Luke May as an example of some of the things
Yeah.
that he could do. But he's 7'1". Luke May is 6'6", 6'7" on a good day. So he's going to have to learn how to play defense against some of these college 4s and 5s. And most of the time, those guys are going to be much smaller and quicker than him. What he does have is an amazing wingspan. I think his wingspan is up there with Brandon Wright's among the largest that Carolina's ever, or longest that Carolina's ever had. What that does also is helps them defensively. I think we're going to see the return of kind of the block shot for UNC. That's something they haven't done a lot of the last few years, but with Kessler's wingspan, he doesn't have to necessarily be as quick laterally against some of those guys. He can make up for that lack of lateral quickness with his length. So that's good on the defensive end. And then offensively, he does have some perimeter skill. I'm curious to see at what rate that Roy Williams allows him or encourages him to take some of those shots in the secondary break, as a trailing big. But he does have that, and he plays really well, I think, right now. We've heard he plays really well with Garrison Brooks in practice. Him and Sharp get along well. They're both good passers. So he's a skilled big, and it's just a bit of an unknown. We know he's talented. I'm just curious to see exactly how he's going to fit into what UNC likes to do.
Yeah, it's a loaded front court. We know Brooks is going to start and Baycott likely at the 5, and then you have Daron Sharp, who's a legitimate, bona fide, 5-star player, and then Walker Kessler. Greg, where do you see kind of maybe the fourth big of this talented front court fitting in rotational wise, and what it can bring in year one?
I think it's an ideal situation for the young man just because you know what North Carolina has ahead of him. Garrison Brooks is a potential All-ACC player. Yet again, Monte Baycott has a year of starting experience under his belt. So they're going to be the two key guys, at least to start the season. And so Kessler is going to be able to work with them in practice, which is very important for him to develop. But then he can come in and get good minutes without having to play too many minutes. And so Roy Williams can really bring him along slowly if he needs to. He may not need to. And that really sets the kid up for success. But the fact that he has such a unique skill set and the fact that he's so big, I mean, we talk about Kennedy Meeks. He was a big guy. We saw how good he was in the Final Four. There hasn't been a lot of guys like this that North Carolina has had in recent years. So I think just the fact that you've got a huge guy in the middle who can block shots, who can score at the rim, can do a lot of different things, that allows Garrison Brooks to really be unique in what he does at the 4. And that'll be good for the team all the way around.
Walker Kessler, the first 7-footer in a long time for the Tar Heels.